Mr. Duffy notes that we did have some members in attendance who were interested in an item that is on the end of the agenda, and we perhaps could take that up first. Under the consent agenda, we have a vote on both Unit B contract and a vote for the administrative assistance contract. We have taken up those topics, in the executive session, and Mr. Iovino moves to take up the Unit B contract.
Unit B contract.
Motion to approve what it was approved in executive session on modification of the Unit B contract. We have a second to that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We also have a vote on the administrative assistance contract.
I make a motion to accept the contract for the administrative assistance.
As motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Ladies, we just moved the adoption of the contract, so for administrative, we thought you had gotten the word and moved out.
Just a point of religion.
Mr. Winslow.
On that vote, I have to abstain, so please, thank you.
Clerk notes the abstaining of Member Winslow on that contract. That's administrative assistance. We have the approval of various minutes of several sessions, the budget hearing of June 29th, 2011, executive session of the 29th, 2011, the regular session, again of the 29th, 2011, and the executive session of August 1st, 2011. We need the appropriate motions to either approve, amend, delete, alter those minutes. Motion by Mr. Altrino, second by Ms. Crow, without any alterations, deletions, exceptions. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Public comment. That portion of the meeting is now open. And any member of the audience who would like to come forward and comment on any of the topics of tonight's agenda may do so now. And not seeing anyone approaching the podium, we'll consider that portion of the meeting closed. Move on to item number 4, which will be the superintendent's reports for the variety of matters thereunder. Mr. Drews.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I promise this will be quick, and we will move right along. I would like to combine number 1 and 3, accomplishments, together, because one of the biggest accomplishments, I think, at the start of the year was the opening of schools. And I felt that the schools were opened appropriately on time. I toured all the buildings the very first day of the K-8s, and by 9 o'clock, most buildings were teachers teaching, students learning. It was actually, as a new superintendent, I was quite impressed with how fast that the routines went right into place. Of course, we started our opening day with a hurricane warning, but I thought the decision, after consulting with many people, to allow for a little bit of a later start for teachers went a long way in getting them prepared for that Tuesday that students came in. Very pleased to say that impressed with the high school's 9th grade freshman orientation. Spent time up there. It was really nice to see the upperclassmen getting involved with the younger 9th graders and really creating a sense of welcomeness to the 9th grade. So accomplishments, opening day, all went well. Again, being a new superintendent, looking at how smooth that the entire district opened, it's a compliment to not only the school committee but the teachers and administrators. They just hit the ground running, and I'm proud to say that we're still running at full steam, all cylinders, very few problems, not to jinx myself, but the year opened well. One of the big topics that has been pressing in my short tenure was the business manager search. Again, after consulting with several committee members, the decision was to wait, repost in the later August to try to bring in more candidates. We do have several candidates at this point. I am doing background checks on several. The concern of proper licensure is always, and certification is key right now. And at some point, I will be addressing the committee to look for volunteers. I'd like at least 2 of you to sit on a search committee with me as we put this together with the eye towards next week. Bullet number 4, I think, is a good opportunity to speak. The new superintendent induction program, this was started at the state level 2 years ago. The goal was to bring together any new superintendent hired in the state and begin to work with them as a cohort. Last year, there were 22 or 23 new superintendents to form Cohort 1. The cohort I am in this year is 27 strong, so that'll tell you right now the turnover rate at superintendent is growing in this state. But an ex-superintendent, Joan Conley, is in charge of this program. It's a nice program. What it's based is to pull superintendents together and really help them with the curriculum and a coach. I have a superintendent coach to begin to not rush through that first year. So I've submitted to the school committee for their review my draft entry plan, and it is in the packet. And you will see that what they're asking school committees to understand is that a superintendent truly needs a lens of at least 120 days to begin to do due diligence to understanding what a district may need to move forward. And the way that is accomplished is by a series of interviews, focus groups with all stakeholders. So to date, I've left you in that packet some of the people I've had interviews with. Many on the school committee have already had time with me. I see my union representation out there, and Marguerite, I have met with the union already. We've talked. The goal is, think of this if you were in a doctoral program. This is an ethnographic study. It allows me to gather a voice of the people around me that make up the community, the stakeholders. The track for this would be that at January school committee meeting, I will have a better lens to say, after speaking with so many people in this district, these are the big 3 items that this district needs to move forward. And that would be my official entry plan at that point. A strategy on how we'll accomplish those as a district, and I'll be able to look at a school committee and say, I've done my due diligence. These are the big ticket items. Here are a couple small things we're working on. But it also gives the superintendent a chance to establish a footing and a relationship in a community before being asked to go out and create change. And I think it's a solid program. And in the future, MASC, Mass Association of School Committees, will be working with this superintendent induction program so that school committees as well as superintendents will really be on the same page as what it takes to create change and build capacity in districts. There is a survey in there I would ask everybody to fill out at some point and just get back to my office. It's basically a survey on school committee and how school committee in Malden works. District leadership, we had a day-and-a-half summit. I have to say that, again, I was very impressed with the caliber of leadership in this building, in this district. I felt your directors, principals, and assistant principals are committed people working hard in the district to ensure that the students are getting the maximum that Malden has to offer. Not a big restructuring, but throughout the year I will meet with principals once a month. I will meet with assistant principals once a month as a group. I've already started to go into the buildings to meet with principals one-on-one, and the reasons for these meetings would be to bring principals together as a group to discuss what is happening in each of their buildings, give them a chance to speak to their buildings, but also it gives me a chance to work with them and begin to really focus. As I begin to plot and see a vision for the district, they'll be right there to be part of it. We've put on several new assistant principals, and I felt a meeting once a month with the superintendent will go a long way in building capacity for leadership in the district. We would like to be able to create the next wave of principals from within, and I think you need to put some attention into the assistant principal role, having been one in the past, where they really become the foot soldiers and the right hand to the principal. The principals are the right hand to the superintendent, and I see myself as an extension of the school committee. So the more we're all on the same page, the better it will be for the district overall. We will still have 3 more summits throughout the year where I will bring directors, principals, and assistant principals all together, because the goal would be to continue to advance the topics we brought up in August. A real quick preliminary look at MCAS, and again, the data that we have right now is preliminary data. We don't have the official, so this is just our ability to look at a generalized pattern for the district. I've talked to the content directors, and they will be in position to present the findings in October at our meeting to the school committee. I'd like them to come out and present. But right now, basically, to give it a quick overview, we looked at special needs, we looked at ELL, and we looked at math and English for the district. We are in a place right now where most urbans find themselves. As urban districts, we came out fast. We put programs in place quickly. We were quick to jump on the data, use the data, and move our districts forward. We are starting to see, though, a flatlining of success right now, and in some areas, slight decreases. While the preliminary data shows some movement, positive movement with regards to our ELL population, LEP, and our FLEP students, we're starting to see some slight decreases in our special ed subgroups. If you look at basic overall ELA for the district, again, we tend to start to flatline a bit. We're not seeing any major decreases, but we're not seeing the gains that we would like to see, because people are working hard right now, and we should see those blips on these scores. Math is another area that I would say we need to put some attention to. Our math scores, again, I hate to keep using the term, but things are starting to flatline right now. We're not seeing the movement forward. So again, when you talk about having directors' meetings, principals' meetings, we'll be looking at this, trying to find out if one school does see an increase in its special ed population in ELA, then you unpack that. What is the best practice? What's happening in that building? And we need to look at that. Overall, we're really starting to have to do some serious reflection on our practice, on what we're putting our energy in, because the goal is proficient for all, and we can never break from that. As much as people would want to argue MCAS, fatal formulas, and you've heard me say this even in the press recently, the ultimate goal is no child leaves Malden Public Schools if they're not proficient. And that has to be the focus. So we will continuously work hard at this. We will look at what you have. October, you'll have a full-blown report. The directors will be here. They're the experts. This is what they do, and I think in fairness to them, let them come down here and talk to you and demonstrate their knowledge base. The next agenda is Race to the Top. We are in the process of, the September deadline is the 30th. We will begin to put all our pieces in place. I'll have a meeting with the directors soon. One area I would like to, I've already talked with the math director, Ms. Finn, is I would like to extend some of Andrew Chen's work in the district. He is working with he did 5 days of professional development over the summer. I think what we need to do is bring Mr. Chen in and have him work with our coaches. Again, build capacity. I have known Andrew Chen and his math program for several years now. I've seen it do great things, but I want to put my coaches right next to him so that they can begin to learn that practice and model what he does, so that we can then not always have to bring in the PD expert, but we'll begin to do it ourselves and build the capacity. Final discussion areas. In your packet, you'll see we have one from Comcast. Right now, I met with David Green from Comcast. Due to a merger at the federal level, Comcast has been approved as part of that merger to offer $9.95 a month internet access for any student in the district on free lunch. So my thing was, let's check it out, let's see what the details were. And technically, all the schools have to do is allow the information to be passed out. One of the big concerns was privacy, because you are looking at free and reduced lunch. It would be up to the parents to contact and give that information out. So the school's piece on this would be basically just opening the door for that to happen. I think it's a good program. They also allow, at a much reduced rate, the purchase of a computer to a family. I think they can get and all installation is free. Troubleshooting free. Comcast covers it all. So I put that out there for discussion. discussion, or if you're good with that, I can give the green light on that within a day, and we can start to get the buildings. I'll notify the principals that it will be coming in.
You want a motion on it?
I would like a motion on that.
So moved.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Then I will move forward with that. Thank you. The second thing you'll see, it's called K-12 Insight, and this may require a little bit more thought on your part, but I put it out there for right now, a discussion topic. As you know, the state is moving more towards an evaluation tool that looks at surveying the broader stakeholders. K-12 Insight is an organization that will come in for a cost and handle the district's entire surveying needs. We can create surveys, opening day surveys, to see how opening day went in the community, teachers, they will do it all. So we have some flexibility in what we want the surveys to do, what we want them to look at. They gather, they put all the survey out, they'll do the internet surveys, they'll do the mailings, whatever it takes. They break down all the stats, they give you the information, so they are a one-stop survey company. The cost is roughly in the range of $20,000 to give or take $25,000. If this is something you are maybe interested in, I would probably ask the owner, Jesse Lieb, to come in and address the school committee perhaps in an executive session and then right out onto the floor. So I put that out there for right now, something for you to look at, review. You have the document in front of you. And in the future, if this is something you'd like me to advance, all I need to know is you would like that, and I will go forward with it. Lenny?
Do you think that it has a great deal of merit, personally, to you?
Right
What
now,
you know about
what I know about this is there's a few districts starting to pilot this. It's becoming bigger. If this is something you're truly interested in, I would then look at the Mass-Tel survey, which is the Massachusetts version, and then really do some hard looking to the state, like what would give us more bang for our buck. Mass-Tel, I think, is coming out from the state, and it is a survey tool. This agency is willing to really let us fine-tune what we want the surveys to say. And I think that's going to be all the difference.
Do you know of any communities near Malden that have adopted this?
No, right now, there's a few out in Western Mass. I know Revere is starting to look at this. They're on board with Jesse Lieb. Again, this was just, I put this out there. I didn't want to say no to the man until I put it in front of the school committee for discussion. If you want further research on this, he is more than willing to come in and talk to everybody in the room.
To Chair. I know, through my employment with both Malden and other communities, and specifically trying to target, language barriers and overcoming language barriers and building community support. I think there might be other models we'll want to look at too. A model that's really, driven. So I'd like to see a little bit more on what they've done in terms of trying to outreach to communities where, language and ethnic barriers are important. I know I was always very impressed in Somerville where they had a program where they used students, paid them stipends to help translate. And really it helped engage the broader community and the non-English speaking community and that type of thing. So I think it's something maybe a mix of a broader survey with focus groups would be something that, if we're heading this way, it's something that we may want to look for people who have that capacity to, or even look towards a local organization that's provided that. So just something to think of in the mix. So thank you.
I will say that was one of the questions I asked as far as translation go. They're able to put these surveys out in all the major languages. All the major languages. So whatever is going out will be in, whatever language you need. These are really custom made, and if you decided that you wanted the focus group after the survey, this is what they do. So I think in fairness, I'll do a little more research, but it's perhaps in that October meeting, I may ask this gentleman to come in and present to the committee. Okay. Still in discussions, we're looking at a program that's coming. Actually, we were asked to partner with the Medford Public Schools, It's called I'm Allergic to Stupid Decisions, which is, it's a good program, we hope. But what it rolls around really is about the idea of underage drinking, and it's a text-based program. And at first I was like, explain this to me. What they do is they have a database of text responses, so that if I was a child of, let's say, 15, and being pressured to drinking, I could take out my phone, pretend I'm texting somebody else, text this number, and get a series of basically excuses as why I can't drink with you tonight. Back in the day, I would use my mother or father. I'd say, my father would kill me if he found me here. Or I would say, no, my mother won't let me go to that party tonight. It's too late. I need to be home at 9. But nowadays, we have text messaging for this. So what Medford's asking us to do is they really need almost like a control group right now. So they're asking us to have that survey that's included here, which we could give to our 11th and 12th grade high school students, and that would become their test, their control group. However, they would also be willing to come in with the program after January and begin to work with us as in partnership with the Youth Risk Survey that we should be conducting every year, because that's important data that we need to get tight and organized to really help the community at large. So this would be a partnership with Medford. All they're really asking for us is that we would handle this survey, and we can do that through Scantron, which we do have, and that's already in the works. It would be a program that I would be more than happy to have the founder come out again, address with the school committee, so that you get all the details. I think anything we can do to help children make better decisions around drugs and alcohol, I think that's a win.
Any questions on the pilot program? Mr. Wynn?
Yeah, no, I know one of the things, I think on the city side that we, was being funded was the youth risk behavior survey. So we may want to just touch base with that, and, I mean, ultimately, that's tracking these kind of risky behaviors, so just to be aware and make sure that we're, I mean, ultimately, that kind of is the survey that helps track progress on these things, so it might be good to find out what the status of that is and get an update. I think maybe data should be coming out soon, but I know Renee Camerata Hamilton at Cambridge Health Alliance, they've been working on that, so I don't know what the status of that is, but just for your information.
Renee will be meeting with me next Thursday. The Youth Risk Survey is something I'm very familiar with, because I basically was responsible for a big part of it in Revere, so I understand it. In talking briefly with Renee, I guess we've had some trouble in data processing, and we're questioning our numbers. And so Renee will be meeting with me Thursday, and yeah, we're going to be looking at that Youth Risk Survey again and really tightening it up. We need to be able to use that data. I mean, you want to be able to track that your programs are making a difference. And if you don't have accurate data, I mean, I'm willing to say let's go 6 through 8 if we could, and really start to get a feel for what this community is all about with regards to, you know, substance abuse. It goes beyond that. It's all types of youth risk behaviors. So, and we could begin to develop a much solid baseline.
Okay, good. So, do you need authority to join with Medford in this?
Do I need authority? I would always like to have the okay of the committee,
Do you
so.
want to make the sense of the committee to
Yeah.
I agree.
let the superintendent move forward, join up with Medford, find the appropriate students at the Malden High School, I take it?
Yep, 11th and 12th graders at, go ahead.
All right. Janice, do you have that?
What?
Yes. Ms. Crowe?
Actually, I was at the meeting with David. It is really, we met with Dana and with Renee, and it came to Chris Webb, and so he actually asked me to help him pull this together. Dana really had some great ideas on how we can implement it so it doesn't upset the school day. They were working with the teen health advisors from the Cambridge Health Alliance and YWCA's task, Teen Advocate Sharing Knowledge, kind of doing some other, sort of wraparound services. We do now like health tables at the high school once a month, just to kind of get out the information. We did have a long conversation about the youth risk behavior survey and how, that really needs to happen. But again, this will give us more much needed data that we need, that we are lacking at the moment, but it'd be able to kind of compare and contrast what the data from this is saying and what the data from the Youth Risk Behavior Survey is saying, and give us more valid information. So I think it's a good, it's very simple, it's pretty simple, and so I think we'll be able to make some impacts with these kind of things. It's pretty innovative, so I'm kind of excited.
Comments? Otherwise, there's
Move
all the
forward.
sense of the committee that the superintendent move forward.
Second my excitement.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I believe
Done in discussion?
that's it from my end. Thank you.
Any questions or observations on the superintendent's report? Otherwise, we'll move on to item number 5, deliberations. The evaluation tool for the superintendent, Mr. Winslow, has brought the topic forward.